Hi guys, TWD owner Beth Chapman here. I am sitting with my marketing coordinator Abby, and she wanted to do a little interview with me about my book, The White Dress Destinations, which is actually the second book in the series that I co-authored, which is the White Dress series. So the first book was called The White Dress in Color, and the second book is called The White Dress Destinations. So she's going to do a little interview, so you'll hear her voice over in the corner.
Okay, so first question, where did the idea come from for the White Dress Destinations?
So, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of how many years ago. So the way that the series started really was that about, oh my gosh, I should know this, but 2008, I would say. I was collaborating a lot with event planner Candace Coppola of Jubilee Events and photographer Carla Tenike. And we were doing a lot of styled shoots. Carla Tenike did a photography workshop for other photographers to teach them how to shoot, and we were putting together these styled shoots that essentially looked like a wedding so that they could shoot it and have a real feel of a bride and groom and a tablescape and all of that. And we were doing a lot of these styled shoots, and they were getting published a lot in magazines, in The Knot, on blogs, on Style Me Pretty. So, you know, they were getting a lot of press, and they were getting a lot of great reaction, which was awesome, and we were so thankful for. But it started to feel a little bit like it was fleeting. So it would be in a magazine one month, and we'd be all so psyched, and we'd be celebrating it, or it'd be on, you know, Style Me Pretty, and then when the next post came up, it would be gone. It just sort of like poof, it was gone. So I had this sort of desire to make our work a little more permanent and have it be more of a resource for brides. So that's sort of where the first book, The White Dress in Color, came about. And we had the idea of doing a series of books. So The White Dress in Color is photo shoots from around the world, but it's a little more generic to all different types of photo shoots, all different types of weddings, and that didn't have a ton of written content. It was more inspiration. Really, that came about right around the time, right before Pinterest, actually, believe it or not. And so it really was essentially Pinterest in a book. And the inspiration came in the back. Behind each chapter is a section called Behind the Design, where it takes you through our inspiration for the shoot, how we achieved it, and some little tips if you're trying to achieve it yourself. So The White Dress Destinations was the second book in the series, and we really wanted to focus on destination weddings, particularly since Candace had married a man in Barbados and moved to Barbados, and she was doing a lot of weddings either in New England or in the Caribbean, particularly in Barbados. So we wanted to touch upon planning and inspiration for and planning a destination wedding.
Awesome. Okay, so then what inspired you to write throughout and creating the photo shoots that are in the book?
Deciding where we were going to shoot was a little challenging, but what is really cool about this book is it's about destination weddings, but we wanted to turn the idea of a destination wedding on its head. So this book does not have a single beach wedding in here. So I think when people think about destination weddings, they think about like a proverbial white sand beach wedding, and that's not what this book is about. So we wanted to create a book about destination weddings to explain how to create a bespoke destination wedding, something that's really, really personal and allows you to immerse your guests into the culture and flavor of where you choose to get married anywhere in the world. We really feel like the point of a destination wedding should be about having your guests experience this destination that has some importance to you, whether it's somewhere that you went, growing up as a childhood on vacation, or whether it's Paris because you're obsessed with Paris and you love it, and you want your guests to experience it too. That's for us what a destination wedding is about. So there's a Caribbean wedding in here. Of course, we did a wedding in Barbados, but it's at a plantation, not on a beach, so that we can show couples a different way to think about weddings in general and to think about destination weddings differently.
Okay. And then how did you make time for writing on top of owning 2 businesses and having a family?
Oh, there's never enough time to do anything, really. But this book doesn't have it does have written content, but it doesn't have a ton of written content. So it has more written content than the first book, but it was definitely writing a book for sure, but it was more about the imagery than it was about the writing. But of course, Candace, Carla, and I each wrote our own chapter. I wrote a chapter on selecting your wedding fashion. Candace chose one on, really planning your wedding and the details of planning your wedding, and Carla wrote one on choosing your photographer. So we each wrote chapters based on our expertise. So as challenging as writing was, it wasn't that challenging because it was just speaking about what we know and writing down our expertise and giving tips for brides based on what our level of expertise and what we think they need to know. You know, taking the nuances of choosing your wedding fashion, which can be intimidating, but then how do you do that when you have to travel with a gown, or what considerations do you have to take into your thoughts when you're purchasing a gown if you are getting married in a tropical location. So all of that is included in the book. And then especially what I love about the book is there's a whole section in the book that Candace put together a checklist for planning your wedding. So there's a whole planning tools section where there's a checklist for different couples, I should say, not just brides and grooms, of things that you need to think about and consider. And that's what I think I really love about this book, because even though it's called The White Dress Destination, this is really applicable, I think, to any couple that's planning any kind of wedding, particularly so if it's in a destination. But I think this information that's included in here especially the inspiration and the tools and the planning tips are applicable to all couples.
So with that being said, who is this book for? Is it just for people planning a destination wedding? Or
this book is for all couples. It's for same-sex couples, whether it's 2 brides, 2 grooms. Our first book, The White Dress in Color, has a same-sex shoot with 2 brides, and this book has a same-sex shoot with 2 grooms who are actually a real couple, and they're so darling, and I adore them. So it's really any couple who is planning a destination wedding. We love this shoot. This is one of our favorite. This is in the Berkshires. So any couple that's planning a destination wedding, anyone who's starting out, planning a wedding is stressful. It can be intimidating if you don't know where to start. So this book has a lot of inspiration in terms of imagery, but also a lot of useful tips and planning tools.
Okay, and then lastly, could you maybe pick your favorite shoot from the book to show
Oh my
us?
gosh, that's so hard. It's like choosing my children. They're all so beautiful. I do love the Barbados shoot because these children were just so precious and adorable, and there was a toile tablecloth in the shoot, which I love anything blue or white. But I think my favorite shoot would probably have to be Paris. I am obsessed with Paris. This is a real couple, actually. Leanne and Alex, they're actually getting married this year, which is like so amazing. But I loved this shoot. It's this gorgeous Haley Page gown, and what's really awesome about this shoot, a fun little tidbit that I don't know if anybody knew, was the fashion was all shot in Paris. This was shot in Paris, but the tablescape that you just saw was actually shot in Connecticut. It was very difficult for us to put together a tablescape, as you can imagine, in Paris. So we actually shot this at the Wadsworth Mansion in Connecticut. And what I love about this is that I think what this goes to show is, let's say you're obsessed with Paris and it's not realistic for you to have a wedding in Paris, or if you want to have 150 guests, of course they're not all going to come to Paris. So how can you bring Paris to your guests? So I think that's the other nuance of this book, is that it really allows you to show how to throw a wedding in a destination, or how to bring a destination to your guests if you're obsessed with a certain destination, or always vacationed in a certain spot and wanted to give your guests a flavor of that. Even if your wedding is not taking place in that location, you can do that. You can bring your destination to your guests, and this book takes you through that. There's another shoot in here that is inspired by Palm Beach, and I say inspired by Palm Beach because we actually shot the shoot in Connecticut. We shot it at the loading dock in Connecticut, and again, we wanted to sort of show how you can have a Palm Beach inspired wedding right here in your own home state if you are obsessed with bright colors, or Kate Spade inspired things, stripes, things like that. How you can do that and have a Palm Beach inspired wedding with all different pineapples and pops of color and stripes and sparkle. How you can do that, but do it in your own hometown, which is kind of amazing. Awesome. So that's the White Dress Destinations. It's available for purchase at the White Dress by the Shore, or we, of course, love to support local businesses, so go to your local bookseller and ask if they can order it for you, or, of course, it's also available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. Just search the White Dress Destinations. Thanks, Abby. Thanks, guys.